If you're wondering what the best yoga books out there are, then this is the video for you. So this is actually part 2 of my video series on the best yoga books out there. If you want to see part 1, then check out I think it's here, check the link there. But otherwise, let's see now for our 10 best yoga books out there based on a survey that I carried out. Let's check out number 5. All right, so number 5 is Yamas and Niyamas by Deborah Adele. Now, so this is actually a really nice and short and sweet, pocket-sized almost book, which covers the Yamas and Niyamas, which are considered like the moral codes of ethical living and a way to live in a more mindful manner. So this is part of yoga philosophy. So if you're interested in yoga philosophy in a more easily and digestible manner, then this is a really nice yoga book to read. And also the end of each chapter, she provides homework. So you've got week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4 of exercises that you can do in order to apply the teachings of each chapter. Now, this is a book that I would recommend for anyone to read, anyone who practices yoga, anyone who wants to explore yoga beyond the mat, beyond the physical practice. This is a really good book and it's very easy to read. So the way it's written, because it also adds a lot of personal stories, it makes it very easy to flow through. The main critique I would have about this book is that maybe it's not very in-depth. So it's a very good starting step. It's a very good jumping off point in order to explore yoga philosophy. So if you're quite new to it, then this is a great book. If you want something a bit deeper, then maybe this will be a bit too basic for you. And my favorite quote from this book is, "Gaining the skill to choose your attitude, to choose what we think and to choose what we do, may be the grandest adventure we can take as a human being." Number 4 is Ashtanga Yoga, the Practice Manual by David Swenson. So this actually is the first yoga book that I ever bought. So I think this is maybe like 10 years old, maybe a bit older than that actually. So this is my first ever yoga book, and it's in great condition. And actually I had the pleasure of practicing with David Swenson a few years ago in a workshop, and I got him to sign my copy. So I have a signed copy. I don't know if you can see that. Can you see that? So I have a signed copy. Can you see that? Yay! So this actually is a great book for anyone who practices Ashtanga Yoga or anyone who wants to start learning Ashtanga Yoga. Now it's great because, first of all, in a more practical sense, it has this spiral binding, which means that it's very easy to just open up and read. And also it has so many pictures in it which explain in perfect detail each pose, how to get into it, and the variety of modifications. So David Swenson has been practicing yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, since 1969. So this is just a really good book for anyone who practices Ashtanga Yoga. So whilst doing this review for this video, I remember I couldn't really think of any critique, anything negative I would really say about this book. So I went onto Amazon and Goodreads just to see, what people were saying. So amongst all of the positive reviews, okay, the negative ones were from complete beginners who maybe didn't understand how to attach each of the poses together, which, okay, fair enough, I get that, but if you have some basic understanding, if you've been to a few Ashtanga Yoga classes, this is great. This is a great book. Okay, number 3. Number 3 is the Bhagavad Gita. And this actually is just one of the translations. So apparently there's over 200 English translations of this spiritual classic. So this is a translation that I have, and this is considered Amazon's #1 bestseller in theology, in Hindu theology. So this is actually the only translation that I have, and I will say that this is a very good book. And what makes this great is that the first 55 pages, and you can see that I've made quite a few notes, quite a few little labels in this book. There's so much information here. So actually what makes this book great is that the first 55 pages offer an introduction, like an overview into yoga philosophy and key concepts. So if you are quite still new to yoga philosophy, then this is a really great book because it starts you off and it will give you a lot of information in those first 55 pages. And then the rest of the book, what it does is it offers the author's interpretation of the Bhagavad Gita, and then it offers his translation in English. So overall, it will give you a lot of information and knowledge of this Indian spiritual classic. And so the main critique would be that because there's so many translations out there, I don't know how it compares, given that this is my only one. If you have another one that you would recommend, please let me know in the comments below. But this is the translation that I have, and I just thought it was, brilliant. All right, number two. Number two on the list is another book by Iyengar, and this time it is Light on Yoga. So Light on Yoga is, you can see this is like quite a big book. So this actually is a book which focuses mainly on asanas. So it's easy to think of this book as like a Bible of yoga. It really does cover so much. It's over 400 pages and it has over 600 images of different yoga postures. So this focuses mainly on yoga postures. And what's really good about it is that not only does it have these images, but for each posture which it breaks down, it offers how to get into it step by step. And it also, very interestingly, offers the effects, so the benefit that each posture has. And it has over 200 postures. So if you're interested in understanding how to get in and out of poses and also what effects each pose has, then this is a really, really good yoga book to buy. And my favorite quote from this book is, "Breath is the king of the mind." And number one, are you ready? So number one is The Heart of Yoga by Desikachar. Now this book, I didn't have this book. When I did my list, this is one of the ones that I didn't have and I went out and bought. And reading it, I will say that it wasn't hard to understand why this was the top most recommended yoga book out there. And you'll see from my notes that I made quite a few notes. So I've made quite a few notes. So the author of this book has a very down-to-earth way of explaining key concepts of yoga, and he seems to have quite an open mind to the way that he teaches. So for anyone who doesn't know who he is, Desikachar is actually the son of Krishnamacharya. Now Krishnamacharya was one of the most influential yoga teachers, and he's considered the father of modern yoga. He was the teacher of Iyengar. We saw two of Iyengar's books here. He was the teacher of Pattabhi Jois, who went on to develop Ashtanga yoga. Desikachar is his son. He lived with him, studied with him, and he went on then to teach the full spectrum of Krishnamacharya's yoga. So this book is split into 4 parts. In the first part, we learn all about asana, about pranayama, about the bandhas, and then the second part discusses the philosophical aspects of yoga and how we can bring them into our lives. The third part is Desikachar's commentary on the Yoga Sutras, and the final part, part 4, is actually a poem that offers a compact idea of Krishnamacharya's teachings. And so one thing I will say that I really liked about this book is that it has pictures of Desikachar as a child, of Krishnamacharya, his father and teacher, and part of it is also in an interview-based approach. So you really get to see his answers, Desikachar's answers to some of the questions that he is asked. Now this is a great book. I would recommend this to everyone. This is a really, really nice way to maybe get more into yoga philosophy, a bit of a yoga history, and what yoga really is. And so if you want to see a full list of all of these books, check the link in the description box below where I've got my article and I've listed all of these yoga books out, so check them out if you want to go and buy any of them. Let me know if you found this video helpful. I'd love to know if you have any other books that you recommend, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!